We then see the bingo delivery service office. It's a big place, and there we see the manager of the bingo delivery service walking around in incredible pride before standing on top of a podium to deliver a speech for the workers of the bingo delivery service. The manager starts off by greeting every worker for the morning, and the workers greet him back with equal enthusiasm, if not more. The manager then informs everyone of the latest news that has been given to them by the big foods company. The news is that one of the companies they worked with, the gourmet section, has officially shut down after some shady events that occurred there, and he says that all work with them has been temporarily shut down. The manager then promises to tell the workers more about this after they're done with the current set of orders and assignments. The manager then tells everyone that they need to work hard like always today and that they need to be enthusiastic. The workers repeat the sentiment of the manager and say that they all will work with intensity and give it their best. The manager then starts their patented chant before getting the work, asking them who they are, and the workers reply by chanting back that they're the bingo delivery service. The manager asks again and tells the workers to be louder because with how they currently are, their voices won't even reach anyone if they ask for help in trouble. Hence, the workers yell back loudly that they're indeed the bingo delivery service. And so the manager orders the shutters to be open, and when it is opened, we see the icebreaker squad go in first and break the excessive ice to free up the workspace, followed by the distribution squad, who goes in and delivers the ice-molded boxes to the intended locations. The manager is happy to see how fired up his workers are and is hoping for a great day ahead. One of his assistants asks the manager if he feels cold or not in this cold environment, as he is not wearing anything, but the manager says that he feels wonderful and feels so fired up that no cold can catch him, and he can even go shirtless if he wanted to go. Right then, we see the opening gates shutter open up, and it's none other than Redline himself, Mr. Kim. Mr. Kim greets everyone after coming to the scene. We then see that 30 minutes prior to everything that is happening, that Mr. Kim, Panda, Tae-san and Rai have all entered the bingo delivery service office, and they find the workers' uniform and wonder why they're so careless in leaving all those clothes behind. They start putting it on, and at that moment Tae-san mentions about something that he heard from a senior, that all the big organization had a common blacklist book between them, which they use to mark out the people they have a problem with, and those said people are then usually seen gone missing and without any information about where they can possibly be. Those people are then usually found by the police later in random places, being frozen into ice-molded boxes and with no signs of life. While there are many things about those things, but it is often speculated that the bingo delivery service are directly involved in taking lives of those said people. Kim asks if the bingo delivery service are known for being contract assassins alongside doing actual work as well. Rai wonders if the people in the bingo delivery service are really strong and dangerous, to which Tae-san confirms that they're indeed very strong, as their leader, the manager, is known to be former MMA fighter who was too vicious for the fight game and was directly involved in the taking of several lives, which banned him from MMA competitions going forward. This worries everyone, but Panda tells everyone to get back on track and get focused on executing the plan they've decided for them to go through with. And that said plan starts off by having Mr. Kim be the one leading the attack front and go out to the office and fight. We then see that Mr. Kim has entered the room, and the manager tells him to not go further inside as he doesn't allow non-allowed personnel to the room, to which Mr. Kim says that he is indeed a person without the authority to go further in, but he will go in anyways. Right then Mr. Kim delivers a massive punch to the face of the so-called fighter manager and sends him off by flying too hard back and destroying the walls behind. Then the Icebreakers squad go on next to attack Mr. Kim. However, Mr. Kim is barely bothered by this, and he hits a punch to one of the Icebreakers' hammer and breaks it into pieces. Mr. Kim then hits the Icebreaker with jab punch, which sends him flying back, as is the case for anyone who takes a hit from Mr. Kim. The rest of the workers are scared and are wondering how did the guy break an ice-breaking hammer with a single punch. However, the assistant manager tells them that there's no reason to be scared as they're the bingo delivery service, and this fires up the workers who run in to attack Mr. Kim, but it's nothing that he can't deal with, so Mr. Kim easily dispatches multiple workers with single punches and starts laying them all out. We see the guy who was handling all the distribution information on his notepad think just what this monster of a man is doing. That is when Panda, Rai and Tae-san blindside the man and attack him to take all the notes from him. Panda says that even though they meticulously planned for this by having Kim attack and destroy everyone so that they can sneak in and do this, she is still surprised by how well the plan has been put into action by them. She then reads out that the pipeline they need to go through is called B44, and they decide to go there. She reads that they need to use a forklift to get on top of the ice and then sit on top of it to go there. Tae-san is a bit skeptical as he wonders if they'll fall down if they get on the ice because it's slippery, and that is when Tae-san slips and falls down. Them falling makes a noise, and this alerts everyone around them, and the workers notice that they're also intruders because they aren't wearing work shoes. They then alert everyone else that there are intruders on this side too. This makes all the workers turn their attention to Panda, Rai and Tae-san, and then Panda calls out to Mr. Kim, asking him to get them on top of the ice and send them through the B-44 pipeline. Mr. Kim is a bit disappointed as he had done all the hard work fighting off the workers and the manager to create an opportunity for the plan to work out, only for them to end up blowing it. Mr. Kim then takes out everyone in his path and goes towards his squad, and gets them atop of the ice and kicks the ice to send them down the B-44 pipeline, and the assistant manager sees this and tells the workers to follow the team that went down the pipeline. However, Mr. Kim gets in the way and tells them to not look over him, as he is still there. That is when the assistant manager tells him that he should first finish the fight that he started. Mr. Kim is slightly confused as to which fight he is referring to, but right then, the manager who was punched first gets back up and hits Mr. Kim with a punch of his own. This allows the workers to chase after Pando and Co. in the B-44 pipeline. Mr. Kim tries to fight off the manager with some punches from the bottom. However, the manager is resilient and has the mount, so he is ready to go on attack and stop Mr. Kim as he was challenged by him to do so. We then see a handsome young man at the scene where it all started with Mr. Kim, when he attacked Tae-san and other gatekeeping officers. The man is a detective named Aston, and he is investigating the case of the 3 officers disappearing after that day. Aston interviews an officer who said that he didn't find his co-workers after that day. He said that one of the officers were very reserved, so he doesn't know about him, but the other 2 won't just disappear without notice. Aston notices that the work was done very swiftly and wonder if it was the job of someone within the organization who helped clean up, or maybe it was done by an intruder. He wonders that if the intruder had superpowers, because the way the wall was damaged wouldn't be possible without superpowers. This is when a senior gatekeeping officer comes and tells Aston that it isn't a big deal that they went missing, and said that the 3 will eventually be found out and be punished for their lack of responsibility. Aston thinks the officer is taking this too lightly, as it's unusual for guards to leave midway through their duty, and in that too, leave without trace. The officer doesn't like the detective's accusations and tells Aston to go ask the higher-ups if he doesn't believe him. The officer also says that while Detective Aston might have jurisdiction over the area, he shouldn't just come and disrupt their normal day's work. The officer then walks off saying that he has no idea why the higher-ups give jurisdiction over important things to such incompetent people, all while Aston himself watches. We then see that inside the B-44 pipeline, the workers are chasing Panda, Tan Sae, and Rai. One of the workers gets on the ice track as they're sliding down, but Panda takes quick care of them with a hook kick to the face. We then see that Rai is hitting Tan Sae with a briefcase and telling him that it's all his fault that they got caught and that he slipped on purpose. Tan Sae apologizes for what happened and says that he didn't do it on purpose. However, Rai doesn't believe him and keeps on saying that he betrayed them and is a double agent. Tan Sae says that he feels bad that he is still treated that way after showing loyalty to them. This is when the assistant manager from before comes and asks them the question if they're in the correct situation to argue and fight amongst themselves. After that, the assistant manager uses his ice roller skates to cut through the ice that Panda and Co. were sitting on, separating them into 2. Tan Sae on the smaller side, Rai and Panda on the larger side. Tan Sae struggles to keep balance on the smaller side, and then the parts of ice go down different sides of the pipe, separating them. Rai is worried that Tan Sae is gone and he is alone, and that is when the assistant manager starts fighting Panda. Panda quickly deduces that the assistant manager isn't actually the assistant manager, but a person in a much bigger role than the manager. The guy then says that she guessed right, even though he is from a different organization, he is in a much bigger position. He is the director of the ice chamber and his name is Chamin. And so the fight continues and both of them go into it with a roundhouse kick and block each other out. As the fight goes in, Panda matches Chamin in skills and is arguably more dynamic, so this surprises Chamin as he thinks she is very much like someone he once knew. This is when we see that more people from Shaman's squad have arrived to help, and this distracts Panda and allows Chamin to take over and dominate the fight. As Chamin starts trash-talking her, Panda makes a surprising comeback by hitting Chamin with a handspring kick. Meanwhile, on the other side, we see that Tan Sae is still hung up on how Rai keeps calling him a traitor, and it bothers him, and it bothers him because Rai is so smart. She saw through him and understood that he was indeed setting them up for this catastrophe and is happy that he is alone now and plan on moving forward from this line of the pipe and make it outside, where he can contact his people and arrange action against these street thugs who invaded their land. Meanwhile, on the other hand, we see that the manager of Bingo Delivery Service throws a huge chunk of ice towards Mr. Kim, which he breaks with rather ease with a punch. The manager says that Mr. Kim is the best and is a perfect fit to fight him. After saying that, the manager throws another chunk of ice which hits Mr. Kim and sends him back flying into the wall. The manager then walks up to him and says that the people of the street have overcomplicated fighting and took the fun out of it. According to him, the best kind of fight is the one that is fought between two real men and a fight that is fought with their fists and feet. And in a fight where they both take and give hits. Mr. Kim says that he doesn't have any interest in of his philosophy, but the manager said that he thinks that him and Mr. Kim could be great friends. However, that is when Mr. Kim grabs a hold of the manager's feet and starts swinging him like a rag doll. Kim then destroys him with his power and says that he doesn't have any interest in the manager or his workers. The only thing that he cares about are his kids and where they are. Just as Mr. Kim starts walking towards the B-44 pipeline, and right then, the manager speaks up again, asking Mr. Kim that he had no idea that Kim was married. Kim is shocked and asks the manager how he is alive, as most guys would have not been alive after what he did to him. Mr. Kim also asks if he has any supernatural powers. The manager speaks up and says that he indeed has a superpower, a power that allows him to turn all his pain and injuries into more muscles. Mr. Kim calls him a cockroach, but the manager considers it a compliment because he loves cockroaches and has 20 pet cockroaches at home. The manager runs at Mr. Kim and starts unloading all of his best punches at him with rapid speed. Mr. Kim starts blocking while also giving some of the punches back. They both go at it for a long time, and eventually they both load up a huge punch and end up colliding fist to fist, and the impact sends them both back quite a few yards. A bleeding manager tells Mr. Kim to finally admit that he can't beat him because his power is too scary. His power allows him to turn all of the attacks taken into his own strength. When it comes to supernatural fighters versus supernatural fighters kind of fights, he is only below the ones who have a power that can counter his own power, and from what it seems, Mr. Kim's power is not a particularly handy one and is definitely below his, so Kim stands no chance against him. Mr. Kim stands alone as he wonders what to do and prepares for the fight that is ahead of him from now on. We then see the floor shaking as the manager and Mr. Kim restarted their fight. However, this time, it is mostly the manager dominating Mr. Kim, as he delivers several brutal punches to the chest and face to take over in the fight. At one point, Mr. Kim is against the wall, and the manager tries to deliver a finishing blow with a punch. However, Mr. Kim dodges and the pillar takes the blow and breaks by the force of it. The manager notices this and asks Mr. Kim why he is only taking shots and not trying to give them back. He asks if Kim had lost all hope. Mr. Kim is in thinking mode. He understands that he is at a huge disadvantage in this fight and that he can't throw any blows at all to the guy who can take blows and get stronger by building muscles from it. So, if he can't attack the manager with strikes, he needs to resort to the grappling game. And so as the manager charges in to fight Mr. Kim again, Kim also charges towards him, but not to throw blows, but to land a Greco-Roman wrestling takedown. The manager notices that Mr. Kim is not throwing blows and has switched up his game to grapple now, however, as Mr. Kim is using his hands to grab the manager's head down. He says that getting into a grappling contest with him isn't a wise decision and turns around the tables and puts Kim into a modified inverted armbar. The manager praises Mr. Kim for thinking of this tactic and says that it's not a bad idea at all. However, Mr. Kim lacks the skills to make it work against someone like him. The manager asks Mr. Kim if he had ever trained in martial arts professionally, before applying tons of pressure to the arm and literally ripping out the entire arm from the shoulder socket. However, Mr. Kim's supernatural powers allow him to regenerate lost limbs pretty quick, so Mr. Kim takes control of the severed arm to land a punch to knock down the manager. He then uses his other arm to hold the manager's head down from behind as his severed arm reconnects to his shoulder socket. The manager says that even though Kim called him a cockroach, Kim himself is probably much worse than one. Mr. Kim finally got the manager where he wants him, and he puts pressure on his head to break the concrete floor and shove the manager's face inside. Mr. Kim then drags the manager's head through that, But the manager says that all this effort is for nothing, as nothing that Kim does will affect him in any way, and the one with the final laugh will always be him. This is when Mr. Kim drags his head up and slings his body inside a room. The manager says that things are getting heated up and he loves it. However, Mr. Kim says that things aren't getting heated up, it's gonna get cooled down, as the room the manager was put into was the instant freezer room. The manager understands that it was Kim's plan to put him inside the freezer to try and control him. Mr. Kim further goes on to say that he heard about how bingo delivery service frees people to take their lives away, so it's now the turn for its head to experience the same. Saying that, he lowers down the temperature to unbearable levels and closes the door. The manager quickly rushes in to stop the doors from closing and manages to do so. The manager then asks Mr. Kim why he is trying to run away from their fight. Mr. Kim, however, hits him with a punch so hard that it disfigures his head and sends him back, saying that he isn't running away from anything and that the manager has already lost the fight, before closing down the door again. The manager tries to stop him again, but this time the door gets closed. However, the manager punches the gate so hard that his hand breaks through the gate and was about to hit Mr. Kim, who caught it with his hand. We then saw the hand also freeze alongside the rest of the body, and Mr. Kim say that the manager was disgusting until the last breath and wonders if all supernatural power users are just as disgusting as him. Meanwhile, in the B-44 pipeline, we see a huge fight going on between the director of the ice chamber and Panda. The fight is mostly being fought in Taekwondo style, as we see several kicks being thrown from both sides, and most of them being dodged by both because of their quickness and agility. Chaman has an unfair advantage over Panda though, as he is wearing ice roller skates which can basically be used as blades when kicking. So as Chaman throws one of his kicks, Panda tries to dodge it, but the blades on the skates slightly graze her in the cheek, which leaves her with a cut on there and draws blood. Rai sees this and wonders how she never understood that Panda was such a badass from her lazy and laid-back attitude as a teacher, but here she is showing her prowess. However, the man she is fighting is very strong as well, and in fact, it really looks as if Panda is at a disadvantage. It is then that we see Panda's technicality as she drops down and changes the pace up from doing head kicks to doing a sweeping leg kick which drops Chaman off the ice mold. However, Chaman is experienced working in such environments, so he quickly gets back up and tells Panda that she gets an A+4 effort and cuts the ice mold even thinner. This disbalances Rai, who is about to fall off, but surprisingly enough, it's Chaman who goes to her aid and picks her up. Chaman then berates Panda verbally for calling herself a teacher when she brought her underage student to such a dangerous environment. Panda doesn't say anything because she knows that she is at fault for this. Chaman then goes into his rant, saying that the skill discrepancy is very evident and that Panda stands no chance against him. He says that he has been holding back this entire time, or else this would have been over long before. Panda looks on proudly as she tells the director of the ice chamber that he really has gotten a lot stronger. Panda then refers to him as Chaman, which totally baffles the man as he had not told her his name. Panda then asks him if he still can't remember. However, Chaman tells her that while she does resemble the person, she cannot be her, as that person was very cool and not half-witted and irrational like Panda. This angers Panda and she jumps right up to hit him with a kick as the dumb and half-witted comment got to her. She tells him that this is no way to treat a colleague he had not seen for ages. She now vows to go all out herself as she was holding it back too. Chaman says that the person she resembles would never act so irresponsibly as he dodges the jumping axe kick from Panda. However, as Panda lands, she activates her supernatural power, called the matter solidification, and asks Chaman if he still believes that it's not her after experiencing this. Suddenly, the block of ice they were standing on melts and turns into water jelly, and Chaman falls right into it. Chaman wonders if this is really the popular matter solidification technique, and his thoughts are proven right when Panda solidifies the water jelly back into ice and traps him in between. It really is the technique known as matter solidification, which allows Panda to reshape and reform anything into what she wishes. Panda then asks Chaman if he believes her now, and Chaman says that people do really change after all. Panda tells him that he has changed a lot too, before getting mad and starting to stomp him while he is unable to defend himself, for calling her half-witted and dumb. She says that he should have been nicer to an ex-colleague, and then a confused Rai asks Panda what does she mean when she refers to the ice chamber director as a colleague. Panda then nonchalantly tells Rai that she is originally from the Blue Moon City, which shocks Rai. Later on, we see that Tan Sae, the gatekeeper, is happy to have made it outside by sliding through the pipeline on a block of ice. He is very happy to have made it outside and says that it feels good and that now he will be able to talk to the police about what went down with the intruders. Only for him to be then greeted by Panda, Rai and Mr. Kim, who made it outside way before he did. This shocks Tan Sae as he can't believe how they made it outside, but Mr. Kim asks him what he meant when he said that it feels good, to which Tan Sae lies and says that he meant it feels good to see them again, to which Panda says that the feelings are mutual. We then see a flashback of Mr. Kim where he is spending time with the kid who is caught up with the big food organization, named Hyan Jong. We learn that Hyan Jong is a like ray of sunshine and is always smiling no matter what. Even when she falls down and gets hurt, she acts like nothing happens. So for a girl like that, who can't show her sadness or pain, to be caught up in this syndicate, it must be really bad for her. There's a secret as to how they can protect her, a secret only known by Kim and the principal. Just then, Panda keeps calling out Kim's name and he gets back to his senses. Panda asks Mr. Kim if he was sleeping, to which Mr. Kim says that he wasn't sleeping, just thinking about something. Panda then tells Kim to follow her as Chamin woke up. We then see Panda and Mr. Kim having a conversation with Chamin, where they ask him to turn a blind eye to what they're gonna do and keep the bingo delivery service running like nothing ever happened. Chamin refuses to agree to these terms as he can't just turn a blind eye to what they've already done, and besides they plan on launching a sneak attack on the city's backbone, one of its biggest industries, so no way he can agree to these terms. Mr. Kim then speaks up and tells Chamin that if he refuses to agree to their terms, then there will be no choice left to Mr. Kim but to take his life and go forward with their things anyway. Mr. Kim also says that not only just his life, but the lives of everyone that works for him loyally in the ice chamber. And besides, this isn't something they've figured out for themselves, it's something they've figured out for the safety of them, because if it were not for Panda vouching for them, Mr. Kim would have taken their lives anyway. Panda says that she has done it for them because they were once colleagues after all. We then see a flashback where Mr. Kim confronts Panda as for why she would want to keep Chamin and others alive, asking if she has any attachments to the city and their people. Panda says that she long left that rotten city for the fashionable life and that she holds no affection. However, Bingo Delivery Service is a big company, and for it to shut down so abruptly would be bad news for them, as it'll point out at something being wrong. So they need them to have Chamin and others run it for them. And besides, Chamin is a soft-hearted guy, so he will end up agreeing after a while. And just as Panda predicted, they all end up agreeing to the terms after a while, and so the squad with Tae-san moves forward through the pipelines without anyone stopping them. Rai says that she had no idea that not even a single person wouldn't object to them, but here they are. Tae-san says that it's because, in the city, people listen to orders wholeheartedly and follow them to their best ability. Mr. Kim then asks Panda if what Chamin said was true, and Panda says that Chamin has no reason to lie. We then learn what Chamin said. He said that the child kidnapping is a shame and he hopes it ends soon as it puts a bad mark on the city's name. He says that he can't help them directly, however, he will give them this bit of information, that being that the big food organization office that they plan on visiting isn't the real office. It's just a fake office, set up as a proxy to run only the bare minimum part of their business. He says that he knows this because he visited the fake office. However, he doesn't know where the real office is, so that's for them to find out. Back to present time, Mr. Kim says that maybe the guy who he took out maybe knew something about where the real big foods might be. Panda jokingly suggests that they defrost the guy to talk to him. However, Mr. Kim doesn't want that as he is too much of a nuisance. This is when Tae-san suggests that if they can't get information about the big foods office from outsiders, they need to talk to the insiders. Mr. Kim asks where will they find the insiders, to which Tae-san says that they can just go and search the nearest organization to them, his suggestion being CAS Plus. Later at the CAS Plus office, we see that they're beating up the chairman of a mod-level company called Our Construction, named Hurin. Hurin says that they will regret beating him up because there's his bodyguards and the police who will come chasing after them for doing so. The big sturdy men laugh, while their leader walks in asking why everyone who they bring here say the same thing. The guy then picks up Hurin by his hair and says that they're still here after so long is because they can get away with these things. It's because police don't care about mid-level companies getting ended. Besides, it's Hurin's fault for getting in the blacklist. As he beats up Hurin, Mr. Kim arrives to the scene. Hurin wonders if the huge guy is here to save him, while the guys also think the same. They ask Mr. Kim if he came to support Hurin, to which Mr. Kim denies and says he came to ask a few questions. The leader says that he can't let an outsider get away after seeing this and tells his lackeys to get him. However, Mr. Kim throws the lackey out of a window to everyone's surprise. Another lackey is sent, but he is thrown to the opposite side with so much force that he breaks through a wall and out. The lackeys wonder if this guy has supernatural powers but go to attack him nonetheless. Mr. Kim throws a massive punch that takes out all of them. Now Mr. Kim approaches the leader as he begs off and asks for mercy. Mr. Kim then slaps the guy lightly to not gravely injure him and get him ready for some interrogation. Mr. Kim thinks about what Taesun said, that he should beat them up hard first and then ask questions, and if they don't have answers, then use them to his content as they'll be willing to do anything to stay alive. And so, Mr. Kim gets ready to discipline him first.